It's about market share, which is my concept today. Now, a market share, as you can appreciate, is a business term for having more potential customers to sell to. It's if you're selling baked beans, for example, you might have a 25% share of the market for baked beans. Heinz advertise really well. As a mortgage advisor, mortgage broker, you will have a particular percentage of market share in your niche, whatever that is. And during the next year or so, one thing you may want to try and do is to expand your market share so that when things get busy again, which they will, because it's always cyclical, then you've got more people to sell to. It makes sense, doesn't it? So let me show you how to do that. First of all, back to my Shawbrook Bank people under their brand TML, which is a mortgage brand. They've done some more research because they've been busy doing research, haven't they? And they've been doing some research on the generation rent. I love that phrase. It's a bit like the Iraq War series, wasn't it? Which you might have called Generation War, wasn't it? But Generation Rent is where this comes from. Now, Generation Rent is a fictitious cohort of people, Generation Y probably mostly, a few Gen X's, who rent properties in the private sector rather than buy. Now, for whatever reason, that's what they do. And arguably, possibly, most of them want to aspire to own their own home. You don't have to say that, 'cause it's not always true. But anyway, they've been doing some research on Generation Rent to see what their house buying aspirations are. And they've got some problems because interest rates, of course, are surging upwards, and the mortgage monthly payments are surging upwards. And their general affordability, the ability to get a big mortgage, is going down. So, they're not in a good place really, and their rent's gone up, so they're not able to save so much deposit to put down. So it's not good. So many of them are putting off their plans. Many of them are just paying more on their mortgage if they have to get a mortgage. Some are moving to cheaper areas, nothing wrong with that, which then pushes prices up in the subsidiary areas, in the suburban areas. But many are just putting it off. The upshot is that most Generation Rent, if I call them, are playing a waiting game. They've renewed their rent for another 12 months or whatever. They've got a smaller place, cheaper rent, whatever. They've got rent going on, and they're playing a waiting game. They're waiting for prices to be known because they're worried about prices coming down. They're waiting for interest rates to come down, which they won't. By the way, interest rates are like pouring Coke into a glass, isn't it? You get a bottle of Coke or Pepsi, whatever your favourite. You take a glass, you pour it in quickly, you get this massive froth. That's what happens when bank base rates go up, and then the froth causes all sorts of turmoil, and the froth, will calm down back to liquid, and that's what's happening to interest rates at the moment. They've calmed back down again to liquid. So that's my pouring Coke metaphor for you. The other thing about interest rates is that inflation is the big issue, isn't it? So we're trying to get that down. The problem with inflation is you can bring it down to the 7-6% mark. It's not difficult to do that, but it's getting it down to the 2. It's like going on a diet, isn't it? I don't know if you've ever been on a diet. Maybe you're going on holiday and you're going to go on a diet this summer to lose, say, a stone, and you get going quickly and you lose 6 or 7 pounds easily. But it's the last few pounds that takes a lot of time just to get rid of. Remember, it's the same thing with taming inflation. So the Bank of England, although they'll probably stop increasing rates in the autumn possibly, we don't know, they will keep them high for a long time because they will not get inflation down to 2% for a while yet. You wait and see. It's like losing weight. So the upshot is rates are going to be relatively frothy for quite a while. So where do you make your money as a mortgage advisor? Where do you make your revenue? Because you've got a business to run, you've got kids to feed and all that kind of stuff. So where do you make your revenue? You do it in 2 ways. The first way is through product transfers, REMOs, love that word, don't you? REMOs, protection sales, advisor referral fees. So that's another one as well. You might want to do all sorts of other types of business, but it's product transfers and remos is where you'll make your money. There's millions of people doing product transfers and remortgages at the moment, and if you're good at it, you've got a decent client bank, and you're good at contacting clients, you will make enough money to keep the the wolf from the door. What you also need to do, number 2, and this is the key one here, is to build your market share. Build market share now of these people, of these potential first-time buyers. So these people that are waiting, You want to build your market share. How do you do that? Let me share with you how to do that. Well, what you want to do here is you want to get back to that incubator thing we talked about last week. Let's just remind you what that looks like. So if I can just key into my incubator so we can see what that looked like. If you can remember, it looked a bit like this. Let's just put that up as well for you. Remember the incubator. Now the incubator is a CRM system, customer relationship management system, that houses customer data. And what you want to do is you want to do various marketing activities to bring people into your incubator. And the incubator is a place where people pile in. So remember the picture, people join it. There's a dude there joining in from your social media marketing, your Facebook advertising, your LinkedIn, whatever it is, and they join many other people. These are your generation rent people that you've reached out to. And I'll show you how you get those people. And once they're in your incubator, you then look after them. And the theme is quite simple. The theme, just to write this down for you, don't want you to forget this one. The theme is how to be mortgage ready. That's all. How to be mortgage ready. Now the clever thing about this, I think it's clever anyway, is that there's no selling going on. So when you harvest their email addresses to put into your incubator through your social media activities or whatever activities you do, you will promise them that you will show them over the next year, 18 months, loads of tips and techniques on how to be mortgage ready. It's as simple as that. You're not going to sell them stuff or show them anything that isn't linked to the theme of how to be mortgage ready. So when they are ready to get their mortgage, when interest rates calm down a little bit possibly, or they get used to the fact that interest rates are 5% or so, fixed 5 years, fixed 10 years or whatever, then they reach out to you. So how do you do that? Back to the picture of incubator. What you do with that incubator is you keep it warm with information about how to be mortgage ready. Now you'll send them an article once a week. You'll write articles about how to improve your credit score, for example. Changes in mortgage affordability rules, or monthly payments on interest rates, or my thoughts on interest rates, or whatever it is, or how to ensure that you have all the paperwork ready, or something like that. You know the topic. You'll do videos on the same basis. Maybe you'll do a live stream like I do, but you'll probably do little shorts on YouTube, using your phone. You might do a little podcast. Everyone's doing podcasts, but okay, do a podcast. Nothing wrong with that. But you're doing all sorts of things now to help them to be mortgage ready. You might want to, run some seminars, online seminars. Get yourself good at presenting online and run seminars for all your people. Again, how to improve your credit score, how to prove your income. If you're self-employed, what you need to do to your accounts, that sort of thing. So you're mortgage ready. So when things pick up, you're good to go. Now here's the key. Here's the real secret. You have to have a call to action. The next step, because what you want, look closely at the picture, what you want is for these people, when they're ready, to reach out to you, and there's the incubator moving up one, reaching all the way down to your sales process. And your sales process, remember, begins with a 15-minute discovery call, free of charge, where you talk about everything you need to sell these services, etc., to find out what their goals are. So your call to action then is always to fix up a 15-minute discovery call. So at the end of your podcast, at the end of your articles, at the end of your video shorts, just say something like, okay, free 15-minute mortgage discovery call with me on the phone, on video, whatever you want, to find out what your goals are and how we can help you. Oh, and if you apply to me direct, I'll give you 10% off the mortgage advisory fee. Nothing wrong with that. 10% is not much. So you might want to increase your fee by 10% before you start charging it. But it's just a little call to action for them to remember, because you want them to reach out to you. It's the whole point about doing that. And you'll get business. You won't get business this year, maybe not early part of next year, but back end of 24, before the election, maybe after the election in 25, you'll start to see there'll be a lot of people in your incubator who will start to reach out to you for mortgage advice, because you've got the mortgage ready, and they know you by this point because they've received stuff from you. They like you, they trust you because they've received information from you. So all the trust secrets are there as well. So that's how you do it. And that is what I call my It's All About Market Share, how to be mortgage ready. So there you are, there's a little free idea there for you to help you in your business.